Hello and welcome. This is going to be a small tutorial on how to make and create a show in ATM-4. But before you do that, it is recommended that you have favorites already saved in Starry Night. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to open pre-flight. And we want to open pre-flight instead of just ATM-4 because you see right here render box pops up, and that is going to be a preview to what we're doing. This little box right here is render box. And it is very helpful to see, what you're actually manipulating and if that's what you want in your show. So now this is an old show file, but we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to open up a new show. And something like this should pop up. So you can, change the length of your show and such. So we're just going to call this new show. And this is what should open. Yours might look a little different if you have, different settings in here, but that's okay. The first thing that we want to do is we want to check that two specific windows are open. The first one is this, which is Playback Controls. If you notice that you don't have this window open, that's okay. You're just going to want to hit View, and then this one, Playback Controls. The other one we want to have open is Cue Toolbar, and that's going to look like this. Now, if yours doesn't look like that, that's okay, but that's because each different area has its own individual cues. So we're going to go back to Control. And now you'll notice that there's two down here, and these are the two that I want to talk to you about. One is a comment cue, and the other is a pause cue. Now the difference between the two is a pause cue is going to stop your ATM-4 show for you. So maybe you have a small monologue that you want to do, but you don't know how long it's going to take you. You can put in that pause where you want your monologue to have, and it's going to stop ATM-4, and it won't start again until you tell it to continue. So maybe we want to have, maybe we want to greet all of the people coming into our show, and we don't know how long that's going to take us, but afterwards we want to, just continue on with the show. So we can call that Start Show. You can also change it. You just have to double click it. We also might want to change, where it is in the show. So let's put this at 2 seconds. Hit OK. So now that we have that there. The other one is just a comment cue, and what this looks like is that it's like the same thing, but the only thing is, let's put that after 4 seconds. The only thing is that it's not going to stop ATM-4, it's just going to continue on. So let's just call that Mars, and maybe you want to put in as the tag like what you want to talk about next, so you have a reminder of what you're doing. So we're going to type in Mars, and we'll hit OK. Now that's pretty much all that we're going to use in Control, but if we go down to Starry Night, I can show you a few in there. The first one being how to put in a Starry Night favorite that you have saved. That's going to be this little button down here, Scene, or you can also just hit S. So we'll click that, and this is going to pop up. This is where you want it, so let's have our first scene change after 6 seconds, and this is where we pick the scene. So your Starry Night favorites should pop up, but if you notice that they're not, that's okay. Just hit Documents and then Starry Night Pre-Flight, and this something like your favorite folder should open. So we'll click our Mars one, and we're gonna hit Open. This is just an error message that pops up, but that's okay. We don't have to really worry about that one. Now there are two buttons down here. There's Execute and OK. Execute just throws the picture up on render box, so maybe we're not sure if that's the favorite we want. We can select it, hit execute, and if it's not it, we can go back and change it. Or we can just hit OK, and that's going to throw it into ATM-4. Now, maybe you have this favorite of Mars saved, but afterwards you want to talk about Venus, and you notice that you jump back and forth, and there's a lot of both of them. Something that you can do to help yourself stay more organized is to add another track. Now you can either double click on Starry Night, or you can go into File, Add Track, Starry Night, and this pops up. So maybe we want to talk about Venus. We'll hit OK. You can add as many of those as you wanted to. So maybe after a certain amount of seconds, we want to add in another favorite. And we're going to talk about Venus in that favorite, so I'll just pick whatever one. We'll hit OK, and maybe we want that after 8 seconds. Okay. Ooh. Sorry, that was the transition time, which The transition time is, you know, like how long it transitions. So, but we want to change this one to 8 seconds. So we'll hit OK. Now we notice that we have our first favorite up here and our second favorite down here. Maybe the next thing after that is you want to add in a picture, and you know, you want to like just use a picture. So we're gonna go down here to where it says slide, or you can just hit E or open that up, and this window should pop up. And I know it looks like a lot, but it's actually not that bad. This is gonna be where it is in the show. We'll change that to 10 seconds. This is where you pick, you know, what picture you want. So let's do, there's Venus, there's Mars. We'll do Mars. This is the color and opacity. I do not recommend messing with these settings, but you can change like how see-through you want it to be. We're also going to increase the transition time to 2 seconds. This is also the position. I prefer to have it in radians and degrees, but we can manipulate where it is in the dome. Now, we can't see it in Renderbox right now, but that's because we don't have live selected. So we're going to select live, and you notice that the picture pops up right there. So maybe I want this picture over south, so we can change the radiance to where it is. Oop. We can also change the degree, so maybe we want to bring it down a bit. And just remember, if you want to manipulate these things and see where it is on the dome, you just have to click this little live button. The size, this is pretty self-explanatory, is how big or how small you want your picture. If you notice that you can't see your picture, you want to make sure that your size isn't too small. And now we're just going to hit OK, because you know we already see what it looks like on the dome, and we want that in our ATM-4, so we click OK, and we have this in there. Now, if we want the picture to go away, we have to specifically tell ATM-4 we are done with this picture. And now what that looks like is, if we go over here, it's going to be this button down here, slide kill. So we're going to click this, and this will pop up. It's very simple. So maybe we only want that slide up there for a few seconds, so we'll have it after 13 seconds. And you see, this is where it is very helpful to have different tracks, because it's just this track slide which is being taken down instead of like all of your pictures. Like if you all had them on one track, you could have a kill slide and it would take down all your pictures, and maybe you don't want that. So we're gonna hit OK, or actually we're gonna put this at 2 seconds to give Renderbox just a little bit of time, and then we're gonna hit OK. So now we have our slide and kill slide, which is what we want. Now, let's take a look at what this looks like all together. This is where our playback controls come in. So we notice that if we want to preview our show, but like our progress is still up on Renderbox and we don't want to see that, we're going to have to update this to the time bar position. So we're going to click that, it takes the picture away, and it's at what we start with. So we'll hit play. We notice that the first thing that comes up is the pause, and it stops it. Then we have our little reminder cue, and then Starry Night changes. And it changes again. The picture didn't pop up, so let's take a look at that slide. Let's change this to 3 seconds. We're gonna hit OK. Ooh, maybe we'll move this back just a smidge. We're gonna start right here, update Renderbox, and then we'll hit play. So, oop, I guess I didn't give it enough time to update. So we're gonna go back here, update Renderbox. Okay, there we go, it jumped a little bit. It changes. Our first slide should pop up, and then it should vanish. Now, if you don't notice that, that's okay. It might just be an issue with whatever scene you have here. So let's try to change this scene. We'll do this one. Open, okay, okay. We start back here, update Renderbox, and we'll click OK. So we notice that changes. There we go, our picture's down here a little bit, that's okay, that's where it went. But we did see the picture pop up and disappear, and that's just demonstrating that you do need a slide and a kill slide to have pictures come up and disappear. But basically that is all that there is for this ATM-4 tutorial, and you know, if you can make a whole show off of just those few little tricks. So I hope you have a creative and fun time. Thank you.